Okay, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So this is my third video of reading English texts for English phonetics and phonology subject, and here we go. uh, as as a teenager, I got into the habit of listening to the string quartets of Bela Bartok, which I found slightly cacophonous, but still enjoyed while doing my homework. Somehow, tuning out those discordant tones helped me focus on, say, the chemical equa. Hold on, let me repeat that again, sir. Somehow, tuning out those discordant tones helped me focus on, say, the chemical equal equation for ammonium hydroxide. Years later, when I found myself writing articles on deadline for the New York Times, for the New York Times, New York, New York Times. Repeat that again, sir. I just yeah. Uh, years later, when I Years later, when I found myself writing articles on deadline for the New York Times, I remembered that early drill in ignoring Bartok. At the Times, I labored way in the midst of the science desk, which in those years occupied a classroom sized cavern into which were cramped desks for the dozen or so science journalists and a half dozen editors. Editors, I don't know. Yeah, there was always a Bartok-ish hum of cacophony. Nearby there might be 3 or 4 people chatting. You'd overhear the near end of a phone conversation, or several, as reporters interviewed sources. Editors shouted across the room to ask when an article would be ready for them. There were rarely, if ever, the sounds of silence. And yet, we science writers, myself among them, would reliably deliver our ready to edit copyright on time, day after day. No one ever pleaded, "Everyone, please be quiet," so we could concentrate. We all just redoubled our focus, tuning out the roar. That focus in the midst in the midst in the midst of a din indicates selective attention. Wow. The neural capacity to beam in on just one target while ignoring a staggering sea of incoming stimuli, each one a potential focus in itself. This is what William James, a founder of modern psychology, meant when he defined attention as the sudden taking possession by the mind, in clear and vivid form, of one of what seems several simultaneously possible objects or trains of thought. Hi. There are two main varieties of distractions: sensory and emotional. The sensory distractors are easy. As you read these words, you're tuning out of the blank margins surrounding this text. Wow. Or notice for a moment the feeling of your tongue against your upper palate. Just one of an endless wave of incoming stimuli your brain weeds out from the continuous wash of background sounds, shapes and colors, tastes, smells, sensations, and on and on and on and on. More daunting is the second variety of lures, emotionally loaded signals. Can I turn back into producer? I kind of liked it. Well, you might find it easy to concentrate on answering your email in the hubbub of your local coffee shop. If you should overhear someone mention your name, pretend emotional bait, that it is almost impossible to tune out the voice that carries it. Your attention reflexively alerts to hear what's being said about you. Forget that email. Okay. The biggest challenge for even the most focused, though, comes from the emotional turmoil of our lives. No, no, no. The biggest challenge for even the most focused, though, comes from the emotional turmoil of our lives. Like a reason to blow up in a close relationship that keeps intruding into your thoughts. Such thoughts barge in for a good reason, to get us to think through what to do about what's upsetting us. Upsetting us. Okay, uh, the dividing line between fruitless rumination and productive reflection lies in whether or not we come up with some tentative solution or insight, and then can let those distressing thoughts go, or if, on the other hand, we just keep obsessing over the same loop of worry. The more our focus gets disrupted, the worse we do. For instance, a test of how much college athletes are prone to having their concentration disrupted by anxiety correlates significantly with how well or poorly they will perform in the upcoming season. The ability to stay steady on one target and ignore everything else operates in the brain's prefrontal regions. Specialized circuitry in this area boosts the strength of incoming signals we want to concentrate on. That email, for example, and dampens down those we choose to ignore. Those people chattering away at the next table, like in the previous paragraph. Yeah, since focus demands we tune out our emotional distractions, our neural wiring for our neural wiring for selective attention includes that for inhibiting emotion. That means those who focus best are relatively immune to emotional turbulence, more able to stay unflappable in a crisis and to keep on an even keel despite life's emotional waves. Wow. Failure to drop one focus and move on to others can, for example, leave the mind lost in repeating loops of chronic anxiety. At clinical extremes, it means being lost in helplessness, hopelessness, and self pity in depression or panic and catastrophizing in anxiety disorders or countless repetitions of ritualistic thoughts or acts. Touch the door 50 times before leaving. In obsessive compulsive disorder, the power to disengage our attention from one thing and move it to another is essential for well being. The stronger our selective attention, the more powerfully we can stay absorbed in what we've chosen to do. Get swept away by a moving scene in a film or find a powerful poetry passage. Exile, 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 exhilarating, exhilarating. Oh, let me repeat that again. It's kind of hard to say. Wait, wait, wait. The stronger our selective attention, the more powerfully we can stay absorbed in what we've chosen to do, get swept away by a moving scene in a film, or find a powerful poetry passage exhilarating. Okay. Uh, get swept away by a moving scene in a film, or find a powerful poetry passage exhilarating. Oh, I could do it, sir. Yes, okay. Strong focus lets people lose themselves in YouTube or their homework to the point of being oblivious to whatever tumult might be nearby or their parents calling them to come eat dinner. You can spot the focused folks at a party. They are able to immerse themselves in a conversation, their eyes locked on the other person as they stay fully absorbed in their words, despite that speaker next to them blaring the Beastie Boys. Oh, the Bestie Boys, yeah. The unfocused, in contrast, are in continual play, their eyes gravitating to whatever might grab them, their attention adrift. Like, your attention was being held by something. Yeah. Oh, it's really not about vocabulary. Okay, let me continue, sir. Richard Davidson, a neuroscientist at the University of Wisconsin, names focus as one of a handful of essential life abilities, each based in a separate neural system that guide us through the turbulence of our inner lives. To, okay, I might be too fast. Okay, that guide us through the turbulence of our inner lives, our relationships, and whatever challenges life brings. Aduh. During sharp focus, Davidson finds key circuitry in the prefrontal cortex gets into a synchronized state with the object of that beam of awareness, a state he calls face locking. If people are focused on pressing a button each time they hear a certain tone, the electrical signals in their prefrontal area fire precisely in sync with the target sound. The better your focus, the stronger your neural lock in. But if instead of concentration there's a jumble of thoughts, synchrony vanishes. Just just such a drop in synchrony marks people with attention deficit disorder. Okay, let me repeat that again. Okay, just such a drop in synchrony marks people with attention deficit disorder. We learn best with focused attention as we focus on what we are learning. The brain maps the information on what we already know, making new neural connections. If you and a small toddler share attention towards something as you name it, the toddler learns that name. If her focus wanders as you say it, she won't. Then, when our mind wanders off, our brain activates a host of brain circuits that chatter about things that have nothing to do with what we're trying to learn. Lacking focus, we store no crisp. Lacking focus, we store no crisp. Okay, lacking focus, we store no crisp memory of what we are learning. So I think this is the end because today my target is make one video and then I read until the first chapter of the second chapter is end. I don't know until the first sub chapter of the second chapter is done. Okay, I think that's all. See you in the next video. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Da 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 da.